రైట్. ఇక విశాఖలో CII పార్ట్నర్షిప్ సమ్మిట్ ప్రారంభమైంది. అరుణ్ జైట్లీ ప్రస్తుతం మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. లైవ్ ద్వారా చూద్దాం.
We are assembled here at a stage where the world itself is facing serious challenges. It's struggling to get out of the slowdown process. The future appears to be uncertain. There is also a rising tendency, more particularly amongst the developed world, of falling back on protectionism. How do we in India deal with this situation? Over the last few years, I think what has kept India going at reasonable, amongst the fastest growing rates in the world, are a series of factors. And I think the most important factor is that there is a changed attitude and vision as far as the people of India are concerned. Never in Indian history have we seen a situation where the people of India come out and openly become so increasingly aspirational that they start supporting and demanding reforms and change in an Indian society. As a result of this, a series of policy changes across the country, both by the centre and several state governments, have taken place. Today, the environment for policy formulation in India has become far more positive than it ever was. Notwithstanding this wave of protectionism elsewhere in the world, there is not even a slightest discussion of those tendencies as far as India is concerned. We have become one of the most transparent, one of the most open economies in the world, which almost in sector after sector invites foreign investment. 90% of the investment that we get into India is through the automatic route. That shows the level of transparency which has also, and ease which has come into the system. We are investing in a very big way in different areas of infrastructure. We are investing in a very big way in rural India, which was otherwise the more unprivileged part of India. And it is these investments which have kept the growth process going. And I think what is very significant, in the last 1 year that has gone by, amongst the various changes and reforms which have taken place, there are three very important directional changes which have taken place. The first is what we call the JAN, where J stands for the Janadhan accounts, A stands for Aadhaar, and M for the mobile phones. That gives you so much data. It makes financial inclusion far easier. It makes targeting of subsidies and state support to those who are entitled to it, to the exclusion of others, far easier. For decades, we've spoken in terms of rationalization of state support and subsidies. Here, for the first time, you have now an institutional legislative mechanism in place where this is actually taking place, resulting in very large savings which can otherwise now be directed towards the benefit of the less privileged people in India. The second most important change which has taken place is the passage by the Indian Parliament and the state legislatures of the Constitution Amendment enabling the goods and services tax. That itself enables India to become one large market, allow a free flow of goods and services across the country, have only one taxation system in the country, eliminate multiple assessments, eliminate taxes on taxes, and therefore make business processes simpler, introduce a more efficient tax system, eliminate all forms of discretions and corruptions, and probably check in evasion and bring more revenue to the coffers as far as the centre and the state governments are concerned. I'm particularly glad that almost all state governments have actively cooperated in making this a reality. Most of the contentious issues have been sorted out in the GST Council, which is a forum of where you can actually see deliberative democracy in action, and those are being very actively now at the final stages of implementation. The third, I think, was perhaps one of the most important changes which took place in India was the move to demonetize the high denominational currency in India. The reality and truth always was that in terms of taxation, both direct and indirect, India was largely a non-compliant society. In a taxation non-compliant society, states and the central government struggle with their revenues to run the system. It creates an unfair enrichment in favor of the evader as against those segments of the economy and the society on whom these resources are to be spread. It also becomes very unfair on the normal taxpayer, because what the evader manages to evade is what the compliant has to pay more. As a result of this, the government therefore decided to demonetize the high denominational currency, which shook the system for some time, but which has now gradually increased the process of integrating India's shadow economy, the parallel economy, the informal economy in far greater number with the more formal economy. The size of the more formal economy is expanding. So are the transactions in the banking system and through the digital mode. This is going to result, coupled with the GST, in the days to come, much larger revenues as far as the states are concerned.